You are a slave, but the cage has no bars, the chains are not made of steel. The master has no face, because the prison is in your skull. The jailer is your own mind. This is not the story of external oppression. It is the story of how your own biology, fears, and desires have built the most perfect cage ever designed. A cage you cannot see, and therefore one you never try to escape from. We believe we are beings of free will, captains of our destiny, moving through the world making conscious decisions. This is the first and most comforting lie. It is the illusion that the true master allows us to have so that our slavery is comfortable. The truth is that most of your life is not a series of choices, but a series of programmed reactions. And the programmer is not you, not your conscious self that dreams, desires, and aspires. The programmer is a much older architect, much more powerful, and infinitely more paranoid. The architect of your cage is the oldest part of your brain, the reptilian brain, the amygdala. It is the jailer that has been in your family for millions of years, a guardian whose only and obsessive directive is not to make you happy, not to make you free, not to make you successful. Its only directive is to keep you alive. And for this primitive jailer, happiness, freedom, and success are synonyms for the most dangerous word that exists: uncertainty. Your mind is not your friend, it is your guardian. And like any paranoid guardian, it prefers a safe prison to a dangerous outside world. This principle is called homeostasis. It is the biological mandate to keep everything the same. The jailer hates change. Change is a threat. Think about it. A new job, a new relationship, moving to a new city, even if your conscious self knows it's something positive, your biological jailer sounds the alarm. For him, the unknown is a predator lurking in the dark. Change is a mortal risk. So build the cage. And what is it made of? It is made of the familiar. The cage is the name you give to your comfort zone. It's the job you hate but know. It's the dead but predictable relationship. It's the mediocre life that slowly suffocates you but won't kill you outright. Your mind, your jailer, will always prefer, always, a predictable misery over uncertain happiness. Because predictable misery is safe. The jailer doesn't hate you. He's protecting you from the unknown dangers of freedom. And to keep you inside the cell, he has designed a series of bars, each more sophisticated than the last. The first bar, the most obvious and the most effective, is the shackle of fear. Fear is not just an emotion. It is the oldest control weapon of biology. It is the watchdog of the jailer. The moment your conscious self has an idea of freedom, the moment you approach the limits of the cage, the jailer releases the dogs. The first dog is the fear of failure. Imagine you have an idea, a brilliant idea, to leave your job and start your own business. Write a book, create something of your own. You feel that spark, that inspiration. You are alive. And then the jailer whispers to you. He does not shout. He whispers, "Do you remember the last time you tried something new? Do you remember that presentation that went wrong in 2015? The humiliation? Do you remember the money you lost in that other project? Are you crazy? Here you have a salary. Here you have security. If you fail, you will end up with nothing. You will become a pariah. You will be the family's joke." The jailer drowns you with a parade of your past failures. He paints such a vivid and terrifying picture of future ruin that your inspiration withers and dies. And then you step back from the bars, and the jailer smiles. Slavery is the choice not to try, not to avoid failure, but to avoid the pain of failure. It is a preventive surrender. It is a life never lived to avoid the possibility of humiliation. But there is an even deeper fear, a fear that controls us even more than the fear of failure. It is the fear of judgment, the fear of social rejection. We are tribal creatures. For hundreds of thousands of years, Being expelled from the tribe was not a social inconvenience. It was a death sentence. The individual alone did not survive. Our reptilian brain knows this. It is imprinted in our DNA. The jailer fears social rejection more than physical death, so he builds the cage of conformity. You dress in a certain way, not because you like it, but because it is appropriate. You keep your true opinions to yourself in a meeting, not because you agree, but because you don't want to create conflict. You follow the social script, the correct career, the correct spouse, the correct house. Have you ever wondered why you panic when speaking in public? It's not fear of words. It's fear that the entire tribe will look at you, judge you, and decide that you're not good enough. It's the terror of being exiled. The jailer whispers to you, "Don't stand out. Don't be the black sheep. Don't say what you really think. They will hate you. They will laugh at you. You will be left alone." And so, you become a slave to the opinion of people who don't even matter to you, a slave to the expectations of a society that doesn't know you. You live your life like an actor in a play you hate, but you're too afraid to leave the stage. These are the bars of punishment. But the jailer is smarter than that. He knows that a slave who is only controlled by fear will eventually rebel. So he has created a second type of bar, a bar that you don't hate, a bar that you love. This is the second bar, the golden cage, the shackle of pleasure. This is the most insidious form of slavery because the victim doesn't realize they are a victim. It is the prison that feels like a refuge. It is the comfort zone. The jailer discovered that pleasure, comfort, and security are chains much stronger than fear. The most common form of this golden cage is the good job. It's the job that makes you cry with boredom, the job that makes you feel dead inside, the Monday morning meeting that steals your soul. But it pays well. It gives you a good salary. It gives you a nice car. It gives you a house in a decent neighborhood. It gives you security. It gives you benefits. These amenities are not your reward. They are your prisoner's ration. They are the golden bars of your cage. They are the golden handcuffs. And each month, with each paycheck, the jailer adds a new link to the chain. Soon, you have a mortgage, a car loan, children in a private school. You are trapped. And the jailer whispers to you, "See? You have too much to lose. Are you really going to risk this security, this comfort for a stupid passion? Be grateful, be quiet, and work." You have been bought. You have exchanged your freedom, your time, your life, for a set of expensive furniture and the illusion of respectability. You are a well-fed slave, and this golden cage extends to your relationships. There is the comfortable relationship, that relationship where passion died years ago, where there is no growth, no excitement, no deep connection. But it is predictable, it is stable, it is safe. There are no fights, but there is also no life. And you stay. Why? Because the jailer whispers to you the terror of the alternative, the terror of loneliness, the terror of starting over, the terror of the world of dates. And you convince yourself that this comfortable lukewarmness is mature love. It is not. It is slavery. It is choosing the company of a ghost over the risk of being alone and having to find yourself. But the modern jailer has a final weapon in his pleasure arsenal, a weapon that doesn't even require a job or a partner. It is addiction to entertainment. The digital bread and circuses, infinite scrolling on your phone, 8 hours of binge watching on Netflix, the constant flow of cheap dopamine. This is not relaxation. It is sedation. It is the opiate that the jailer gives you so that the prisoner never gets bored enough to question the walls of his cell. As long as your brain is flooded with instant gratification, manufactured outrage, and empty entertainment, you have no time to ask the dangerous question, am I happy? Am I free? Your jailer keeps you drugged with distractions. He is a slave who voluntarily drugs himself to forget that he is a slave. And while you are looking at the screen, the jailer checks the bars of the cage. So the cage is built with the fear of the future and the comfort of the present. But the jailer is meticulous. He must also ensure that you cannot escape into the past. He must anchor you. This is the third bar, the chains of the past. The jailer uses your own history against you. His main tool is a psychological lie known as the sunk cost fallacy. It is the mental mechanism that tells you that you cannot leave something because you have already invested too much in it. The jailer whispers to you, "Quit your law career? Now? After 3 years of university, 4 years of college, 5 years as an associate? You've invested 12 years of your life in this. Are you going to throw them away?" And you believe him. The jailer has turned your time, your life, not into an experience, but into an investment that now owns you. You become a slave to your own resume. Or he tells you, "Leave this relationship after 7 years, after everything you've built together, the house, the memories." You don't realize that you're chaining your future to a past that no longer exists, simply because you're afraid of losing your investment. The truth is that time has already gone. It's a sunk cost. You can't recover it. But the jailer convinces you that the only way to justify that investment is to keep investing more. It's the logic of a gambler who keeps betting to recover losses. It's a perfect trap. And if the sunk cost fallacy is the chain, trauma is the lock. The jailer has a file, very similar to Hoover's. A file of all your failures, all your humiliations, all your traumas. It is his album of greatest hits. When you start to feel brave, when you approach the door of the cage, the jailer does not argue with you. He simply seats you in a chair and begins the projection. He endlessly loops the moment you were dismissed, the time your partner betrayed you, the time you spoke in public and they laughed at you. He plays it over and over again until the pain feels as fresh as if it were happening right now. And he says, "See, this is what you are. You are a failure. You are a fool. This is what happens when you try." Your past is no longer a lesson. It becomes a lifelong sentence. The jailer has convinced you that, since you failed before, you are destined to fail again. You become a slave to the ghosts of your own memory. The bars are in place. The fear of the future, the comfort of the present, the chains of the past. But the most perfect cage does not need bars. It needs an invisible wall. This is the fourth bar, the biggest, the social script. This is the part of, and you don't know it. You are a slave to a script you don't even realize you're following. You were born on a stage. You were given a script the day you were born. The script of normal life. The jailer, in this case, is the entire society, and your primitive mind is the one forcing you to obey. The script is this: be born, go to school, get good grades, not necessarily to learn, but to get good grades. Go to university, not to find your passion, but to get a good job. Get into debt, land that secure job, climb the corporate ladder, get married before 30, buy a house with a white picket fence, have 2.5 children, work for 40 years, retire, get sick, die. This script is presented not as an option, but as life itself. And here is the system's brightest trick: the false choice. You think you are free because the system gave you options within the script. You think you made your own decisions. You chose to be a lawyer instead of a doctor. You chose a BMW instead of a Mercedes. You chose to marry this person instead of that one. You chose beach vacations instead of mountain ones. The jailer adores this illusion. He lets you decorate your cell. He lets you choose the color of the walls. He lets you believe that you are the decorator, so you never realize that you are the prisoner. You never thought of true freedom. The option not to go to college. The option not to buy a house. The option not to have a 9-to-5 job. The option to live in a monastery or sail around the world or dedicate your life to art without seeking benefits. Those options were not even on the menu. You are a slave to the limited menu that society offered you, And your mind, your jailer, ensures that you never, ever ask for something not on the menu. You are a slave to a script you never wrote. So the cage is complete, built with fear, pleasure, the past, and conformity. It is a masterpiece of psychological engineering. But there remains one question. Why does the slave not rebel? Why, even when he sees the bars, does he not try to escape? This is where the jailer performs his master trick, the coup de grace that ensures the prisoner will never attempt to escape, even if the cell door is left open. It is called learned helplessness. The concept was discovered by psychologist Martin Seligman in a cruel but revealing experiment. He divided a group of dogs into two. The first group was placed in a cage with an electrified floor, but they had a lever. If they pressed the lever, the shocks would stop. They learned that they had control. The second group was placed in an identical cage, but their lever did nothing. The shocks were random and unavoidable. Quickly, this group learned a terrible lesson. No matter what you do, the pain does not stop. Effort is useless. So, Seligman changed the scenario. He placed the dogs, one by one, in a new cage with a low barrier. One side of the floor was electrified, the other was not. A simple jump was all it took to escape the pain. The dogs in the first group, those who learned they had control, felt the shock and immediately jumped the barrier to safety. The dogs in the second group, those who had learned to be helpless, felt the shock and did nothing. They simply lay down on the electrified floor and whined. They accepted the pain. They didn't try to escape. The cage didn't even need to be closed anymore. They had learned to be helpless. This is you. This is how your mind works. After a few failures in life, a business that didn't work out, a relationship that ended badly, a dream that was not fulfilled, your jailer, your mind, learns the lesson. Effort is useless. Pain is inevitable. So you stop trying. You stay at the job you hate. You stay in the dead relationship. You accept your mediocre life. The cage door is open. You could quit tomorrow. You could leave tonight. You could start over. But you don't. You stay still and accept the download. The jailer no longer needs to make an effort. No longer needs to whisper threats. No longer needs to seduce you with the golden cage. His work is done. The slave has finally become his own jailer. It is the perfect slavery, a self-imposed prison maintained by the victim. And so, the prison is perfect. Built by a biological jailer that protects you from change. Reinforced with bars of fear of failure and judgment. Cushioned with the comfort of the golden cage. Anchored by chains of the past. Hidden behind the invisible walls of social scripting. And finally, sealed by your own acceptance of your helplessness. You are a slave, and you don't know it. But here is the paradox. The paradox that the jailer does not want you to discover. The architect of the cage, your mind, is also the only one who has the key. The jailer, your primitive brain, and the liberator, your higher consciousness, are the same entity. The entire prison is made of one thing: unconsciousness. The bars are not real. They are made of thoughts you have never questioned. The chains are not real. They are made of beliefs you have never examined. The jailer is not real. It is just a program, an echo of an ancient fear. The key to dissolving the prison is not a heroic act. It is not a bloody battle. The key is a simple question, a question that the jailer hates more than anything in the world. The question is this true? Is it true that I will fail? Is it true that I will be humiliated? Is it true that I cannot survive alone? Is it true that I have invested too much? Is it true that this script is the only option? Is it true that I am impotent? At the moment you ask the question, at the moment you turn on the light of consciousness, the jailer steps back. At the moment you realize you are a slave and see the cage for the first time, The bars begin to rust. They start to dissolve. Slavery is ignorance. Freedom is consciousness. The jailer has kept you in darkness all your life, convincing you that the cell is the entire universe. The question is, are you ready to wake up and see the bars?